Joining us for more on this is Tim Costello. He's the Director of Ethical Voice and the Executive Director of Micah Australia. Tim, good to see you. This is the first time the US is sharing those vaccines that had been authorised for domestic use. How significant is that step? I mean, is this a game changer we're talking about here?
Yeah, this is very significant. What we know is that the wealthy countries are being vaccinated 25 times faster than the poor countries. They have over 40% of the vaccines, and the poor countries only 1.3% of the vaccines. And the thing about the virus is it doesn't know borders, and therefore none of us are safe until all of us are safe, which is what our End COVID for All campaign's about. So this is really good news.
There is the COVAX program, which is the global vaccine equity scheme. How is that progressing?
Look, that's underfunded at the moment. It should have, by now, delivered its 170 millionth dose. It's down around only 80 million, and it's particularly for the poor countries. There will be a pledging conference in Tokyo in June, and Australia's fair share is another 200 million to the global response. At the moment, Australia, our government's saying, oh no, we're doing things bilaterally, and they have been good, 500 million over the next 4 years for our region. The problem again is the virus doesn't understand bilateral relations. It only understands something that's global, that's multilateral, which is what the COVAX facility is. And that's why I'm calling on the Prime Minister to step up next month and to commit our fair share, $200 million. And I might add, this virus is mutating, doubling and tripling times, particularly in India. It is spreading so fast. This is a global problem that knows no bilateral national deals.
How are we going in terms of our really close neighbours, the Pacific Islands, for example? We know PNG's been hit by COVID. One of our reporters, our viewers would have seen, has spent some time lately up in the Torres Strait and has come across the big issue of vaccine hesitancy in some parts. There is a real belief in bush science, religious factors playing into that as well. How are governments, how are groups working to try and get these populations vaccinated going to overcome that?
Yeah, look, there are often real obstacles. We saw them in developed countries that should have trusted the science, with people refusing to wear masks, anti-vaxxers out. And in much less developed countries, whether it's culture or religious belief, are a great problem. But look, I'd say the far bigger problem at the moment is just actually having the vaccines to give the jab to those who want to get them in poor countries. The truth is we're debating in Australia, can we open up and when, and business versus often people saying we've got to be safe. That's not the debate. The debate is getting the vaccinations out to the rest of the world, any number who want to be vaccinated, whatever their cultural or religious beliefs, and not having access to those vaccinations. That's the real debate if we're ever going to open up, because any opening up simply will remain dangerous until we actually vaccinate the world. That's what the global COVAX vaccination is. That's why Australia should pull its weight there.
Well, just speaking of that debate, it is a debate that is being sort of played out at water coolers around the country. I think we've seen these comments from the Virgin CEO talking about the human cost versus the economic cost. Gladys Berejiklian today just saying no death is acceptable when it comes to risking the spread of COVID-19. Have we seen a shift, do you think, in our appetite for risk during the pandemic? Do we need to accept that there will be casualties unless we decide to live as a hermit kingdom forever? I mean, these are the sorts of debates that we've seen, and as viruses and deadly illnesses have spread around the world, and I know you've worked, with countries dealing with a lot of them, these are real questions, aren't they?
Oh, they're real questions, and we've seen this debate that's never quite been resolved for the last year and a half, namely health first and then economic recovery. Look, this debate is settled when we actually seriously vaccinate the world. Dr. Anthony Fauci has said the vaccination is a dead end for the virus. Those who are vaccinated, and they're saying this clearly in America, don't pass it on, aren't at risk. The way to resolve this debate is actually not just timings where we say, well, we haven't vaccinated the rest of the world and we haven't been generous enough to maybe share our wealth to do it. And therefore, can we open up? Can't we? What about our economy? There's a way to cut through all of that. And that's actually saying we are all in this together. And therefore, doing our fair share, other wealthy nations doing their fair share, will very quickly settle this debate, because once people are vaccinated, absolutely we can start opening up.
Tim Costello, can I just get you to put on another hat for a moment? I know viewers would know that you're a strong anti-gambling advocate. We saw the news this week about Crown's pledge to phase out cash from its Sydney casino in favour of a cashless card. What impact do you think that will have? What was your take on that?
Oh, this is very significant. And when Crown announced it, an hour later, Star Casino that wants to buy Crown announced it too. And I was gobsmacked. This is a game changer. You see, criminals will never reveal their identity. And the money laundering going through Crown, which has enabled organised crime and serious crime, trafficking women, child pornography, selling drugs to our kids, has actually been enabled at Crown because there hasn't been a cashless card linked to a verifiable identity, because criminals never want that. So as long as this cashless card is also linked to a self-exclusion register, and not just to a false, credit card, this is very significant. It's called Know Your Customer, and Britain, which has very little organised crime in its casinos, has had the Know Your Customer policy. You have to know who that customer is who wants to gamble large amounts. That's what a cashless card will do. I really welcome this.
Tim Costello, we always appreciate you making the time for us. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.